One of the most interesting surprises in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage has been how quickly Connor became a meaningful part of the story. At first, he seemed like a simple supporting character, just another teenager orbiting around the Cooper family's chaos. But as season 2 has shown, Connor has turned into something more than that. He's become an emotional anchor for Georgie, a subtle source of comedy, and a character with genuine potential if the writers decide to lean into what already works. Going forward, there are several ways the show can use Connor even more effectively without forcing him into storylines that don't fit. The first thing the show can do is expand on Connor's bond with Georgie. Their dynamic is honest, casual, and surprisingly heartfelt. Georgie doesn't have many people he can be emotionally open with, and Connor fills that gap in a way that feels natural. He listens without judgment, makes Georgie feel understood, and provides a younger, more grounded perspective that Georgie actually needs. If the show continues to elevate Georgie's flaws and struggles, Connor can be the one person who keeps him accountable without coming off as preachy or self-righteous. That kind of relationship adds depth to both characters. Another direction worth exploring is how Connor fits into the family structure outside of Georgie. Right now, he's mostly shown in relation to Georgie or Mandy, but there's untapped potential in letting him interact more with other Coopers. Missy, for example, could easily form a friendship with him based on mutual frustration with their family drama. Even Mary could have small scenes with him that highlight her role as a maternal figure for kids who don't always get emotional support at home. These moments might seem small, but they enrich the world of the show and make Connor feel more like a fully integrated character rather than just an accessory to Georgie's story. There's also room to give Connor his own struggles, but in a way that stays grounded. One of the strongest things about his character so far is how real he feels. He's not exaggerated for laughs or written to deliver dramatic monologues. He's relatable because he's simple, straightforward, and trying to figure out life one step at a time. Instead of giving him a big, shocking storyline, the show could explore everyday challenges, feeling overlooked, dealing with school pressure, or navigating friendships that shift as he gets older. These smaller arcs help the audience stay connected to him and reinforce the authenticity of the show. Another way the writers can improve Connor's role is by letting him become a bridge between Georgie and Mandy during their toughest moments. He doesn't have to solve their problems, but he can be the voice that points out what they're both missing. Because he sees the relationship from the outside, he often notices things they overlook. Connor stepping into a light mentor role, not with wisdom but with blunt honesty, could add humor and sincerity at the same time. It's a balance the show already hits well, and pushing it a little further would make his scenes even more meaningful. The show could also use Connor to highlight themes that align with the series' tone. For example, one of the big ideas in First Marriage is how young people get shaped by the environment around them. Connor is a perfect lens for this because he's not a Cooper, yet he's pulled into their world anyway, showing how their chaos affects him. Whether it's confusion, admiration, or even learning what not to do, adds a layer of depth that many sitcoms skip over. It makes the story feel grounded in real consequences. Finally, the writers should continue protecting what makes Connor work, his sincerity. He's not trying to be funny, he's not trying to be dramatic, and he's not trying to take over the show. He just is. That quiet, understated presence is something the series needs, especially with Georgie's life becoming more chaotic. As Mandy's career grows, as Georgie's mistakes pile up, and as the Cooper family faces new challenges, Connor can be the steady presence viewers rely on. In the end, what makes Connor so effective is that he doesn't feel like a plot device. He feels like a real kid caught up in a family that isn't his but somehow feels like home. If the writers recognize that and continue to shape stories around his grounded, honest nature, Connor can become one of the strongest long-term characters in the show. He doesn't need a dramatic transformation. He just needs opportunities to keep being the quiet, emotional glue that holds key relationships together.